Listen, I get it. Have fun in the summertime. Go to your friend's barbecue. Enjoy it. But the summer's over now. So we gotta turn things back around and get ourselves back in the mindset of getting healthy.
People would do these things. They would do these vegetable juices and these cleanses, the master cleanse. But now people don't even have to do that anymore. All they have to do is, flick a top off and stick themselves in the stomach with a drug that has a black box warning of a thyroid carcinoma, which is cancer.
I mean, most people, if they go to a barbecue, they can consume 2,000 to 3,000 calories just at the party.
What? A lot of times, Nick, this is Lynch science. Erectile dysfunction can be blood sugar mismanagement. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of guys that have come to me with this concern. We fix their blood sugar, we fix their A1C, where they get their testosterone back working, build muscle. Boom, it's like they're 19 years old again. So, and that is 100% serious.
All right, Mike, the summer is ending and we've all spent the whole summer going to barbecues and eating a lot of, sweet meat treats that were, queued up for us by our friend or by ourselves, and drinking a couple extra cocktails at the party and having the appetizers and all the fatty foods and things like that. And as much as we want to believe that we will be healthy and fit and exercising all summer, most people actually gain a little bit of weight in the summertime. And so I wanted to do an episode that reminded people that now's the time to get your acts back in gear. You're starting your new routines, the school year starting for people who have kids, and you're shaking off that summer and you're moving into the fall. And we want to be preparing, as much as I don't want to say it, for Thanksgiving and Christmas that are right around the corner. And we know that we're going to cheat on Thanksgiving, and we know that we're going to have some cookies at Christmas. So now's the time to shake off the barbecue, get exercising, start eating healthy so that we can enjoy our holiday season without going into it 5-10 pounds already over and then just, making it worse.
Nick, let me ask you a question. Did you have extra drinks at the barbecue?
I didn't, but I know a lot of people did. I had an extra water. I'm not a drinker. But a lot of people, they're having their White Claws, they're having their extra beers, they're drinking a couple extra cocktails.
Yeah.
They're having a couple hot dogs. What goes on that hot dog? You got ketchup, you got relish, you got all these things that are full of sugar. They're full of all these additives. And listen, I get it. Have fun in the summertime. Go to your friend's barbecue. Enjoy it. Within reason, of course, right? But the summer's over now. So we gotta turn things back around and get ourselves back in the mindset of getting healthy again.
Yeah. I would say that most people are like that, Nick. And before we get into that, and I'll tell you something I noticed as a trainer doing this for 30 years, I just want to take a second to say that Nick apparently hasn't been doing what he's been talking about. Nick, you're looking particularly lean these days.
I did not gain weight this summer, but that was because...
You've stepped it up, haven't you?
Well, we've talked about this before.
Jawline is just looking for...
We're eventually going to do an episode on this, but I got a bad lip battle back. I changed my diet. I dropped some weight. So this summer for me,
what are we talking
lost.
total, Nick?
Total weight loss?
Yeah.
I think this summer I probably lost like 6 or 7 pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
You're looking great, dude. You're looking lean as...
But that's not what this episode is about.
No, but
Mike.
I'm just saying not everybody is the duck, is what I'm saying.
All right.
Nick Skolnick just took it to a different level.
Right.
I want to appreciate your gains.
Well, it was like,
you're putting pressure on me now. I might have to go in after we're done and do a couple extra crunches. You know what I'm saying, Nick? But you know what, Nick? It's funny. So I've been a trainer now for 31 years, and a good friend of ours yelled at me probably about 17 years ago. He called me a dinosaur and told me that I was an old school man and that I needed to get a website. And I told him I didn't want to do that because it was going to open me to weirdos and stuff like that. But I eventually started LynchFit.com, and it was the best thing I ever did. And I started getting emails, and I never paid it. I never had to email Nick, and my web designer made me set up the email. And for the first 2 years, I actually missed. There was a makeover show for brides and wedding people, for weddings. And they wanted me to be on the show. And I missed
That might have been a blessing in disguise. If I know anything about reality TV, you do not want to do that. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, but they wanted me to be the major trainer on it. And it was actually filmed here in New York. And by the time it was actually Long Island, I should say. So it wasn't even, I think we were filming it right down the block at Grumman Studios. And by the time I looked, I actually called and they said, "Oh my God, we've been waiting for you." And they hired somebody else. But I started paying attention to emails. And then my business grew, thank God. And then I started to notice this trend, Nick. September, Halloween time, I would get this huge influx of inquiries for new business. And the first year I was like, well, that's weird. And then the second year it happened, I was like, well, that's weird. And then the third year and the fourth, and by the fourth year, Nick, I said, what the hell is going on here? Because common sense would tell you here in the Long Island area, because we don't have the benefits of having beautiful beach weather all year long, you got your New Year's resolution people.
Yeah.
And you have your get ready for the summer, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you would think that would be your biggest push as far as people looking for a trainer. And I saw this trend of September, late September, early October, I would just get nailed with new business. And I was like, after the fourth year, I'm like, it's not a fluke.
Yeah.
Now, because I work for myself, I didn't have another trainer to say, hey, bounce ideas off. And I came up with this hypothesis, and it's got to be right because it happens every year, is that people do, especially here on Long Island, they get in shape for the summer, they're motivated, but then what happens at the end of the summer, Nick? Like you said, the barbecues, the late summer vacations, and then the kids got to go back to school, and now they're going to go, shopping for clothes. And for those last 3-4 weeks, people really just nosedive. They just throw it all. They're burnt out from maybe over dieting, being too restrictive in the calories. And now they really go to hell with themselves. The kids go back to school. This is a story I told, but I know it to be true 30 years later. And now they get out of the shower September, late September, early October, and they look down.
They're not happy with
What
themselves.
the fuck did I do? Johnny and Jane are back to school. The barbecues are over. The beach is over. And, maybe those extra pina coladas and the seventh hot dog, with the cheese on top, wasn't a great idea.
And now eating like that, it's not good for your insulin sensitivity either, is it?
No, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible for everything. And like you said before, now you're setting up and suiting up and getting ready for what, Nick? Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's. And this is why a lot of times people, they get caught up in the moment and they don't think about the long forecast of being fit 365 and sticking more to a moderate approach. They nosedive into these short little periods of time and then go to hell with themselves.
Well, summer becomes just like the cheat season, right? And like I said before, it wasn't true for me this year. Most people are gaining 1 to 3 pounds in the summertime. Most people are consuming 40% more alcohol in the summertime. And that comes with its own increase in calorie intake, right? Because depending on if that's beer, that's a lot of calories that you just increased during that summertime.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You're being more social, probably. You're out and about if it's hot. Maybe you have a couple extra just because you're thirsty, not because you were trying to do it. And all of a sudden, you drank way more than you're used to. In the winter, maybe you just come home and you have 1, maybe 2 in your house or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But summertime, people are, like I said, very social. It's hot. All of a sudden, one thing leads to another. You gain that 1 to 3 pounds. You increase that alcohol intake by 40%. You're not living your best life.
Yeah, no, I know the vodka club sodas definitely washed down my gullet a little smoother when I'm on the beach,
Of
looking at my
course.
wife in a bikini, smelling the copper
Yeah.
tone sunblock, you know?
Right, you're outside. I mean, most people, if they go to a barbecue, a party that's like an outdoor kind of barbecue style party, they can consume 2,000 to 3,000 calories just at the party.
What?
Just at the party. Think about it. You have a burger, you have a dog, you had some wings, the coleslaw, the potato salad, the appetizers, the drinks that you just had. Then dessert comes out and you're not hungry anymore, but you still have it.
You mentioned hot dogs a lot of times, Nick. What is the most hot dogs you've ever consumed in one party, sitting, whatever?
Well, I used to be in the Nathan's hot dog eating contest every year.
No, you weren't.
No, I wasn't. No, just kidding about that. Honestly, I used to go to Gray's Papaya all the time
What's
in the
that?
city. It was a old school micro chain hot dog place.
Okay.
And so I worked a job years and years back. I worked one of my first jobs in television production. It was a dating show called Change of Heart. The idea was that they would take a couple, they would split them up, put them on a date with a new person. So the guy goes on a date with a new girl, the girl goes on a date with a new guy. Then they come back to the studio and they decide if they want to stay together with their original boyfriend, girlfriend, or if they want to change heart and go with the new person.
Really?
Now, the show would try to make it so that one person would be like, I want to stay together because I love you. And then the other person would be like, I'm going with the new one. And there would be, like some dramatic moment on TV and then bing, bang, boom, they move on. So my job was to go out as a camera operator on the dates. So I'd go on the date, we would do an activity, then we'd go to dinner, then we'd go for a drink after, and have to go back to the office, drop off all the gear. I'm home, I'm done with that day between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. And there was a Gray's Papaya right on the corner. So I'd go over there and I'd order 4 hot dogs.
Boy.
4 hot dogs. And they were so good. And this was before I was gluten-free. I was younger. I was in my early 20s. I was just hungry. I wasn't thinking about it. They were cheap. They were good. It also came, you'd get like a pina colada drink or a juice or something like that. And man, those hot dogs.
Really?
I don't think there's any more Gray's Papaya left. There might be 1 or 2, but there were a lot back in the day and they were good. And I would eat a lot of hot dogs. So, I got a soft spot in my heart for those hot dogs.
Hey, I really appreciate all you guys viewing, and if you haven't already, like it, share it, spread the word of the LynchFit podcast. But I gotta be honest with you, that sounds like a lot of fun. Can we stop this podcast and start the dating show? That sounds fun. So there was existing people that were already dating. They went on.
Yeah, they would do a casting for people who are in a relationship, who are, like if you're in your young 20s, you're in a relationship, but it's loose, whatever. And they would find people and they would get them in there. And so that was one of my first jobs. In fact, I think that was the job where I was able to stop waiting tables and I started, fully pursuing my career in television production.
Eating 4 hot dogs in one sitting seems really fun, but that seems a really fun job.
It was a fun show.
You had some cool gigs.
That was the first in a long line of cool gigs. And as we go throughout the seasons, I'll tell more stories. But it's not a show about TV. It's a show about being healthy.
Yeah. Nick was a rock star before he met me. Now I make him talk about boring stuff like heart disease,
lipid panels
and insulin levels. But this is where we're at.
Mike, in all seriousness, people end up at this place in the fall. The summer's over. Some people are going to try a juice cleanse. Some people are going to do fasting. But a lot of people, they're going to look to Ozempic, or they're going to look to one of these new easy way out plans. And I think we all know that, these things aren't guaranteed to be safe. What is your feeling right now on GLP-1 drugs that people are taking?
Well, I know that and this is not my because I've come up with some nicknames and stuff like that. People will think it's inflammatory, but there's a thing called the Ozempic face, right? And I don't know if anybody wants an Ozempic face. What I understand, Nick, is where your like jowls start to drop and stuff like that. And if you're living under a rock, you may not have heard this, but Ozempic is just disaster as far as people are just losing muscle mass like crazy. This is already a problem for most of us past the age of 37-ish. It's called sarcopenia. Now, this is a fast track to lose muscle mass and bone mass. That's very hard. That's the very reason why people strength train, to build muscle. So now you think about how stressful. I think we did, I don't know if it aired, we did a podcast on cardiac, the Widowmaker, right? And the heart attacks. Think about how stressful this is, Nick, for someone to go up, right? And they're ballooning, they're eating the McDonald's and they're eating the hot dogs and they're doing the extra drinks. And now they're injecting themselves with Ozempic and they're starving or they're fasting or they're going on a juice cleanse. This is very, very chaotic.
Stressful for the body.
Well, I was going to say it's very chaotic to your metabolism, but it's stressful as hell as your overall system, your hormones, your stress hormones, your testosterone, all these things. You're just sending yourself. It's like you're a millionaire, no, you're poor. You started a business, no, it just crashed. Your body doesn't know what the hell's going on. So back in our day, people would do these things. They would do these vegetable juices and these cleanses, the master cleanse. But now people don't even have to do that anymore. All they have to do is, flick a top off and stick themselves in the stomach with a drug that has a black box warning of a thyroid carcinoma, which is cancer. It's crazy.
I wonder, and I don't know the numbers on this, but what the Ozempic numbers look like in the fall, if they spike more in the fall or in January or whatever it is. We'll have to look into that. But
I would have to, for common sense, think that you're right.
But the safe way to start off with something like this is just very simple. Hydration and good quality sleep can really be a good way to start to reset yourself after a long cheat season of the summertime. Make sure you're drinking enough water. Make sure you have a good sleep routine. If you haven't seen our sleep video, we have one. It's got a lot of good, good information in there to try to get you into a place where you can sleep well throughout the night. Those are simple ways. You don't have to take a drug. You don't have to do a juice cleanse. Don't go from 60 to 0. Don't totally radically change what you're doing in your life. Start with some simple stuff, right? Hydration, good sleep. That can go a long way.
Absolutely. And, humans, we do a lot of, and I'm guilty of this, Nick, and I'm sure you have your own stories. We do some really stupid shit. And if we're really, like I say, the duck, and we're doing, the bad foods and skipping workouts and drinking copious amounts of booze and stuff like that. And we go here and we get to a point where we're already feeling like shit. We're feeling bad about ourselves. So what do? We double down and we say, you know what? Let me do some more of it. It's a weird thing that we do as humans.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the point where we're totally topped off. And what do? We don't go to here. We go down to here. So like what you said, if we just start to drink a little bit more water, maybe go to sleep a half an hour earlier, and maybe tack 10 minutes on the cardio, already you're going to go from here to here. You don't have to go and inject yourself with a drug. You don't have to go on a juice cleanse. Your body, believe it or not, if you've been over consuming, here's some positivity. If you've been over consuming calories, your metabolism's actually pretty fast because your body's trying to metabolize all that influx of calories. Now, if you just clean things up a little bit, you're going to be in a deficit already. Add a little bit of extra cardio back in. You have the time now. The kids are back at school, whatever it is. You're already going to start to plummet because you're going to have that ramped up metabolism from the extra calories.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be getting that extra sleep, maybe an extra workout, and you're going to get right where you need to go. You're not going to need to go to these extremes.
A couple things people can do. Go through your kitchen. If you got leftover condiments, leftover potato chips from that barbecue, leftover cookies, just dump it. Get rid of it all. Your kids don't need it. You don't need it. Get all the garbage out of the kitchen. The summertime's over. Start a new healthy, kitchen routine. What you're buying, what you're bringing into the house. Bring in mostly whole foods. Try to get 3/4 of the food that you're eating to be whole foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, healthy proteins. People can do that. Of course, we're not going to live perfect lives. There's still going to be, I'll give you 25% of the calories that you intake, can be the stuff that you feel like is a cheat item. But try to get that 75% of the calories that you're intaking to be whole foods. And that's a really simple way, and a tasty way it can be if they're prepared right, to get yourself back on track.
So now let me ask you a question, Nick, because you're like the new and improved Nick Skolnick, and you're all shredded and lean. You're the only person that didn't put any weight on this summer. Back in the day, I was the kind of guy, let's say I did have a party and I had all the crap, right? The cakes and the gluten-free cookies and whatever. I was always the kind of person, and I'm curious about you, I was always the person to say, okay, this is the snapshot of today. I'm going to send people home with stuff, i.e. the bad stuff, and then I'm going to ditch and dump all the bad stuff because I know what happens the next day. Now, were you somebody, you said for people to get rid of these things, were you in the past somebody that would actually, like, let's say you bought $500 worth of shit for a party and you only burned through 300 of it and 200 were left. Were you the guy that clip it and jar it and eat it throughout the week, or you?
Definitely.
You were?
Yeah, because I'm so cheap, I'm not getting rid of anything. I will save it all, eat it all. I'm not doing.
Really?
No, of course, I'll try to give gifts, some leftovers, get it out. But if it's left over, I would have a.
You know,
used
the
to have
scumbag, right?
a
You
really
get some
hard
stuff
time.
out.
No, I want to, give it away. I always love giving people stuff. If they're leaving, have them take something away, help me out here.
But you're putting the clip on the chips and eating them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was how I used to be. Now, I'm a little more premeditated about what I bring into the house. And even when I have people over, I try not to have all the terrible stuff.
So now for a guy, and I respect Nick for what he just did, he just called himself cheap, which there's a lot of cheap people in the world that won't call themselves cheap, and Nick's really not that cheap. Now, the new and improved Nick that is part of 50/50 and the LynchFit podcast, you're still the same person as you've always been. Now, Nick Skolnick, today, 2025, August, has a huge party. You spend $600. Only $300 was eaten, right? To dumb it down. Now you have $300 worth of shit left. What does 2025 Nick do? Because you're still the same guy. You're obviously more health conscious because you look different. Wait, let me just finish. Because I want people, because hopefully a lot of people are going to watch our stuff, right? And they're not just going to watch. They're going to take action, right? So I want you to be honest on this. I'm interviewing you, Nick. Does Nick do anything different, or do you still eat the chips and just exercise more? What do you do differently, if anything, now?
I don't buy as much of the bad stuff for the party.
But you did.
I did.
Okay.
I overbought, and it's all the junk for the party. I get rid of it.
You do.
Now I get rid of it. Yeah.
You did.
And it kills me. It's so hard. I'm burning dollar bills. It kills me. But
is it all my fault?
It's not worth it.
You do. You throw it out.
It's not worth it.
You throw it out because you're getting older. You've been exposed to different stories.
And if I already bought it for the party, that means I already ate that crap.
What do you mean?
If it was at the party, if you're telling me I spent that money and I did have the Doritos at the party and I did have the chips and all the stuff.
You already had it.
I had it.
You had it.
I had it.
Yeah, but in the past, you had it and then you had it again and again and again.
You did,
right?
But so now I had it and I know, I'm like, all right, I'm done. And it's out. Maybe I try to give it away. I would more aggressively. I'd still rather it go to somebody. It's not even just about.
But everybody's like, no, Nick, we saw you. We're motivated, but we don't want it. We don't want it because that's happening.
It goes in the trash.
It does.
Yeah.
So you have 2 doors and you pick. God, this kills me financially, but damn, I don't want to have.
Listen, I'm not going to the poorhouse because of it. I hate waste. It's actually, I shouldn't even say cheapness. It's mostly the waste. I just hate wasting things.
Right.
Anything. I don't want to throw something out that's perfectly good that I don't need anymore. I'd much rather just give it away to somebody who needs it.
Okay.
I just.
You can call whatever the you want to call it.
Yeah.
But you have 2 doors now, and now no one wanted it.
Yep.
Now you're throwing it out. And I got to ask you, why? What is different? Because you told me...
I had to listen to you for the last year yammering on about exercising and making sure you eat right and don't have too many fats and don't cook with butter anymore.
It's my fault.
Yeah, and that is exactly what you sound like, by the way. That is a dead-on impersonation of what you sound like. So I just want you to know that.
So not only do I look dopey in my new cancer hat, I actually sound dopey on top of it. Look dopey, I sound dopey. Great.
But it works. It works.
So you would ditch it?
Yeah.
Totally?
Yeah.
You wouldn't leave a little extra? It's like the party's over.
I might save a little for my son because I don't want him to be as strict as I am. I like giving him a little something. You know, if I'm making his lunch, I'll throw like a little nice treat in there for him sometimes. But
all right.
I'm pretty good about not having it. And if it was just, you know, for me and the wife.
Yeah. No, I do. Listen, I want to throw it out, but I do it. You know what I do sometimes too? I'm sick. I throw it. I'll throw this shit in the garbage can, Nick. But if it's like something that like, I'm like, oh, it like didn't touch the garbage. I'm like, theoretically, I could reach down and grab the center and it'd be okay. Didn't touch any garbage. I'll go over to the salt shaker, like on the counter, and like pour a ton of salt on it. So I can't even go in the garbage and like retrieve it.
I've done many ridiculous things in my life. I've never gone back into a garbage can to fish food out of there. So, I mean, that's just,
well, I've thrown things out before where it's packaged and I'm like, in my sick brain that's twisted, I'm like, theoretically an hour I can change my mind and I could go back in there. And let's be honest, let's say there's a fresh bag in there. Let's say there's candy in a bag and you put a fresh Glad bag in there, Nick, nothing else, no other garbage, and you throw a big huge thing of candy in there. An hour later, if you change your mind, theoretically you just threw a bag inside a clean bag. You could go back in there and house the whole thing. So what I'll do is I'll open the bag, dump it in like this, and then I pour salt and shit, and I'll throw like my empty coffee grinds. I'll go over to the coffee machine and throw. Listen, everybody thinks I'm like so dialed in. These are things that I have to do sometimes too, where, you know, to keep on the straight and narrow, Nick. It's, hey man, it doesn't matter how you get there as long as you get there, right, Nick?
It's true.
You know?
I do want people to know that when they're making these changes, they may not feel something right away. It does take about 2 weeks.
What do you mean?
When you're making these changes, when you've stopped eating all the high sugar, high, carb foods from the summertime and drinking, you might not feel awesome day 1 and day 2.
You might feel worse, don't you think?
Yes, you might feel worse the first couple days, but hold on, give it the time it takes. In about 12 to 14 days, you're going to start to feel better.
You feel great, right?
You are going to start to feel better. If you're exercising, if you've, prioritized whole foods in your diet, if you've gotten the sugary condiments out of, your diet, if you've stopped drinking the high calorie booze every day throughout the week, you're going to feel better. So hold on, get to that 2-week point, see how you feel, and then keep that going. Because we all know, like I said in the beginning, the holidays are coming up. Thanksgiving's going to come. You're going to want to have a couple extra cookies on Thanksgiving. You're going to want to have an extra helping of grandma's sweet potato amazing dish or whatever it ends up being. And you're going to earn that by being good throughout September, throughout October, not eating all of your kids' Halloween candy that they come home with because they're going to be mad at you anyway if you eat all that candy and you don't want it.
Yep. Nick, I know you are, and I always call myself a numbers guy. So let's throw out some numbers there for people. Whether it's the end of the summer, or it's Thanksgiving, or it's Halloween, or Christmas, or Kwanzaa, or
Festivus?
No, Hanukkah.
Okay.
Let's give people a number to work with. At what point do they turn the lever off and say, enough? I don't care what time of the year. They had a case of the as we say, and they ate too much they drank too many pina coladas at the end of the summer, and they topped Nick, and they said, oh, Nick does 4 hot dogs, I'm going to do 8, or they did too much pumpkin pie. Like, what number on the scale where they pull the lever back and say, okay, I'm pushing pause, back healthy? Like, if I'm 130 pounds
normally throughout the year,
and I'm like, I'm just going from barbecue to barbecue, and now it's October 1st. And I'm what on the scale?
For me, it's 5 to 7 pounds.
Yep.
Like, you got to really pump the brakes.
Hard.
Yes. Because as you get more than that, now you're really you're digging yourself a hole that's going to be much harder to climb out of.
Yeah.
You can battle back 5 pounds.
Right.
Hopefully less. Maybe you just did the regular 1 to 3 pounds. Easy peasy. You got that in a couple weeks, right? But you get to that 8 10, 15 pounds, 20 pounds. Now you're talking about months.
Now we're talking medication.
To do it healthily,
Yeah.
to do it healthy, you're talking about months of hard work. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So for me, it's that, around 5 pounds is where you really need to.
At 5 pounds, set the stopwatch and be like, all right, 24, 48 more hours and it's done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
I agree. Because once you go past that 6, 7 pounds, like you said, then that's when you can see the blood pressure start to go up and maybe the lipid panel starts, if you were to go and pull blood, that's where things start to go south.
It's the fall. This is a great time for some healthy foods. You're going to have the best apples of the year in the fall. They're just getting picked. They're fresh. They're amazing. Go to a farmer's market. Squashes have just been picked. You can pull those out. Pumpkins. You can make a lot of really tasty foods, soups with these items. These are foods that you don't have to feel guilty about.
Right.
And they're never going to taste better than they taste in late September, early October. This is the time to do it.
And Nick knows I always try to pull sex in somehow, Nick. You know this.
There are no balconies in this conversation, but continue.
I think you'll agree with me on this. For men out there, I don't think there could be some men that are blessed, but I don't think any men out there intentionally want to have a smaller penis. What do you think now?
I don't think they do.
Okay. I would say if you get over 7 pounds, the schmackle starts to look a little smaller, right, Nick? Because I don't know about you, bro, but I store body fat right down by the base. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm shredded, lean, and mean, I'm like, yeah, all right. Now, if you start to go well over that 7 pounds, forget about that. Because let's hit the boys where it matters most, right? We could talk about hypertension and a heart attack. They might happen down the road, Nick. But you go over 7 pounds, that schmeckle, it starts to look a little smaller than what it really is. You
find what motivates you and you use that. For Mike, apparently we know what it is for Mike. But for everybody, it's going to be different.
Every guy. Nick.
For everybody, it's going to be different. But if this is what impacts you, use it. Find what is your motivating factor and don't let yourself, like we said, get past that 5 pounds.
All right, I got one more question to ask you, Nick. When you get out of the shower now and you're 10 pounds leaner than when we first started this podcast, changing all the things, don't you think you look better naked?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
100%. Schmeckle.
And I'm sure if you're dating someone or you're married, your significant other will tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
Wow, babe, you look great. Oh my God, you haven't looked this good in 10 years, whatever it is. And that's motivating.
Yeah.
It's motivating to hear that.
And I seriously put the serious hat on for a second. I want to do because this is a big thing for men, erectile dysfunction. Being totally serious.
Yeah.
And ladies out there that are watching this, maybe you're married or you date somebody that's dealing with this. A lot of times, Nick, this is Lynch science. Erectile dysfunction can be blood sugar mismanagement. So I'll be serious for a second. Yes, when you get fat, you store body fat down there and that actually can make it look smaller. But a lot of guys that are suffering from this, obviously there's low testosterone and it could be psychological, but a lot of times this is blood sugar dysregulation. I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of guys that have come to me with this concern. We fix their blood sugar, we fix their A1C, where they get their testosterone back working, build muscle. Boom, it's like they're 19 years old again. So, and that is 100% serious, no kidding around.
All right.
So, yeah, it could, for the men out there watching this, it could definitely look bigger because the waist is smaller, and it's definitely going to bring you back to a more youthful, provided there's not some sort of blockage or psychological.
Well, it's probably a good indicator of overall health if all your, equipment's working properly.
It is. And actually, you know what it's called, Nick? Swear to God. And again, I hate to put it on this here. It's called, when a guy has erectile dysfunction, if it's not psychological, it's called the canary in the coal mine.
Right.
Because the arteries going to that area are like, the little cocktail straw. That's the blood flow is that small. Like if you look through a cocktail straw. So if there's blockages and you're not getting blood flow to the schmeck, you definitely have blockages here. It's a guarantee. So I like to kid and put some more humor into this stuff, but that's again, serious stuff. So yeah, losing weight, getting that ideal body weight, 6-pack abs, going to make the schmeckle look bigger. It's going to make it perform better. It's going to perform better. It's going to make you have higher testosterone, more energy to go for the second and third time, have that balcony sex that you always decide to bring up in every podcast, Nick.
All right. Well, don't forget also meal prepping. Make a big one, maybe 2 big meals on a Sunday so that you have some easy go-to healthy meals throughout the week. That's a great thing for people to do.
You always bring something with you every time.
I do.
I go inside to get something. I always come out, Nick's
I got a lentil soup. I got some sweet potatoes. I got maybe some like lean chicken breast, whatever it is, right? These are easy things to have in the fridge. They stay for a couple days. And if you just need to, in New York, everything happens quickly. We got to run. We got to go here. We got to go there. But anywhere, you got kids, you got a job, you got obligations. Sometimes you just need a quick meal. But the quick meal doesn't have to be unhealthy. So remember that little meal prep. Watch the alcohol consumption. Watch the consumption of, all the carbohydrates. Now that the summer's done, get yourself back in line. Your fall's going to be great, and you're going to walk into that holiday season feeling ready to have some meals that are not so great for you.
Correct.
You haven't gained so much weight that you're going to feel super guilty going into the holiday season. And I think that's what's important for people.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it, Nick. Like if you say to yourself, because I don't know about you, Nick. I love my wife adores Thanksgiving.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's great.
Right? So if you I love Christmas, maybe not as much as when I was a kid, but I really do like Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like bodybuilders, like no one gets in better shape than bodybuilders and fitness competitors, right? Like you almost can look at it like I'm prepping or for those holidays.
That's
like
I'm
going in for
my cheat times.
Yes.
I'm going to work. I'm going to build up all that money in the bank so that I can spend some when I get to the holidays. And spending that money is eating that food,
Nick.
right?
Yeah, blood sugar's down, body weight's at ideal, maybe even a little lower.
And
so
don't
this way you come out
schedule a
even.
lipid panel right after Thanksgiving. Just don't do it. Give yourself a little bit of time, right? Just don't do it. You don't want to know. You don't want to know, right?
You don't know,
right? So in that case, denial, in that case, ignorance is bliss. So I'm going to end it there. Let's get to that ignorance is bliss moment.
Right.
That's all I got. I think we hit people with some good motivation for the fall. The summer's over, but we're all going to have a wonderful fall season leading into that holiday season. Any last words before we end it off?
Yeah, I like that you did this, Nick, because, again, I always say this, and it's not to beat on other fitness podcasts and stuff, but I will. A lot of them are cheesy. They're liars. They may be taking drugs or not living the lifestyle that they're actually advocating for. And we want you to have a balanced lifestyle. We want you to enjoy the pumpkin pie and the Halloween candy and the pina coladas at the end of the summer, but we want you to be able to enjoy it, to earn it, so this way you don't end up in the ER where to strike a sword down your chest with a fucking bypass surgery or on a new medication, where you can go through these moderate ebbs and flows and be healthy and look really fucking good 365. Healthy, where you don't have to say when your kid comes home all excited with their Halloween costume, nah, I can't have any of that candy. I'm on a strict that. Where you can have these, you can dip in and out and be healthy and be free of disease for as long as you have time on this earth.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. I love it. All right. Well, everybody, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a great episode. I know I had a lot of fun recording it. I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun watching it. Same as always, like, subscribe, share, make sure, hit us with a comment. It really does help. The engagement helps to push us up in the algorithm. And that's all I got. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Like Nick said, whatever Nick says, just listen. He knows best. All right. I'm just the side piece. All right. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Please hit the like, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any content in the future.